blue strips, don't need a blue check, and know that I'm verified. I don't be talking no internet money. Let's shit verified. Pull up in front of it all white.
Hey, what's up, family? This is John Reed, Reed Family Bacon, and today on our show we have Miss Nick, and she is going to be conducting an interview with me, and we're also going to be talking about her food blog and what else she's got going on. Our recipe today is beignets, so that's why you see the lights. We in the zone right quick. Basically, this thing just try to have a little party.
Not LA, but LA.
Yeah, it's close enough. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm very happy to have you on our show.
I feel like you're happy.
Yes. With that being said, we're going to just kind of dive right on in and go ahead and get to it. Beignets, they are a New Orleans treat.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
They're so good. I was like, yeah. They're
So
good.
you've had them before?
Yes, and I've had Cafe Du Monde.
Oh, where's that?
And
So that's the thing. I've only
never-
made these once.
have you ever been?
I've been to New Orleans, and that's probably like the only thing that I can really say I regret about my trip. I did not have beignets at all.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
I know. Judge me. You can do everything.
Oh my god. In
Yeah.
the French Quarter, you didn't go to like the little cutesy like coffee shop with the beignets and the.
I'm sad too.
I'm disappointed at you.
Yeah,
Like
that-
you're supposed to be a food connoisseur.
Okay.
I know. So I will be going back to New Orleans and have a traditional one. But in the meantime, we here in LA.
They
We're gonna
have
make
like
one.
a bunch though. Like they have some with like eggs in it, and they have some like strawberries and like bacon. I don't eat bacon anymore, but like with bacon.
They got everything.
You basically like toaster strudels. Remember like back in the day, it's like toaster strudels, and you got like your bacon ones, like just the different flavors. Like it's
Yeah. So we just gonna make a plain one. So we got
Okay.
some powdered sugar. We just
That's
gonna
good,
Get
though.
to it. All right. So I'm gonna heat up the water real quick because the water needs to heat to 115 degrees. I have a candy thermometer so we can test that out. So give me 1 second. You said that you made these before in a way.
well, no. I sat and watched. My mom makes them. Like I'm not a baker at all. I can't bake. I am the worst person to be in that kitchen. But we catch on fire today. Sorry, not sorry.
You with me, so you'll be fine.
Okay,
I'll make
cool,
sure nothing breaks.
But no, like I can cook, just not bake. But my mom's the baker. Like she makes the best beignets.
Oh. So I got some competition, is what you saying? Or there is no competition. She's already-
The audacity. But like no, like I got faith. I have faith. Like how did you get into all of this?
Like baking?
Yeah, like it's a family thing, obviously.
Yes. So my dad was a chef prior to me even being born. And then like when I was born, like he was like, all right, I'm tired of being a chef, and went to work for a large company like Eli Lilly. So now he's still been working there for over 25 years, but he's always been catering, he's always been cooking, like, and that's how I learned. So personally, I've been cooking indoor baking since I was like 7. Cheesecake was like one of the first things I learned how to make. And I modified the recipe on accident one time and remember like what I did because my dad was like, oh yeah, I like that. So we are good to go for that. For our beignets, like we do have a few ingredients. Water, we have some vanilla, evaporated milk, salt, sugar, eggs. This is our yeast, butter. This is the bread flour. So using bread flour versus regular all-purpose flour just because it usually has like baking soda already in it and mixed in. So would you like to do the honors? No. So basically you're just gonna pour in your sugar. Just pour it on in there. And then I'm gonna pour in the yeast. So we don't make a mess, I will do this portion. It's the first step to activate the yeast itself. And you can kind of smell it already, just as long as it's not grainy. And you can see the yeast is no longer on there. You'll let it sit for 10 minutes. This will activate the yeast. So that way, once you do go ahead and throw it into your mixture that's gonna be mixed in a mixer, that it will actually rise up in the fridge. Meantime, we'll go ahead and jump over here to our mixer. I use a standing mixer. You can use a hand mixer. It's a little bit harder with that. If you have a standing mixer, definitely use that because this can get a little crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the eggs, and then you're going to mix them together.
So good. And it's just eggs. That shouldn't be this that. That's crazy.
Once the eggs are mixed, you'll go ahead and use your evaporated milk. So you'll put that on stir and just pour that in. And you'll let that mix in, and then if you would like, you can go ahead and grab the vanilla.
It just looks so good. Like it almost looks like banana pudding, but like looser. But cool.
So for the flour, can be a little tedious. You have 7 cups of flour that are going to be used in this. This recipe makes about 3 dozen. You're going to separate it into 2 because you'll go ahead and mix this in first, and then after you put your yeast in, you'll put the rest of your flour in. I'm not gonna make a mess.
No, you literally are making a mess.
Can mix in a little bit longer, but for now I'll wait till the yeast is ready to go. So now that our yeast is activated, you can see this layer of foam, and that's why we did it in a glass, so that way you can see the foam activating. We have the foundation already set up with the flour, half of the flour being added. So now you'll add your yeast and water and sugar mixture into the mixer. So now that that's mixing in, you have your butter. I'll throw in the salt. The rest of the flour.
Oh yeah, I'm not being rude, guys. I'm literally just a vlogger, so I'm back here trying to just get all of the fine moments that I need for my vlog so I can type everything out and just explain it from my perception. You see a guy cooking, but like it's deeper than the surface.
So now we just added in the rest of the flour.
And you said your dad was a chef, so what kind of like culinary, like what was he into? Like,
My dad actually started off working at a certain place called the Shantae Room. Then he worked at several hotels. He has this associate's degree in culinary arts. From there, he just kind of took off with it, like I said, up until pretty much till I was born. Growing up, like, he would have me like cutting up onions, so that's why I hate onions to this day, because I had to cut them up as a kid.
did you cry?
I did. I lied.
Are you immune now?
Yeah, I'm immune to it now, but I still
my
hate
grandma was
onions.
like, oh, I love them so much.
Like, I hate them.
And I'm just like, dang, man, I like
Like our friends or family members will just ask us like, oh hey, like can you do this? And like my dad's just a nice guy, so of course if he's able to, he's gonna do that. He doesn't do as much catering now, but like once a year they expect him at his job to do this whole like dessert table and like everything else because they know we got the goods. So while I stop this, like I still see a little bit of flour in here, so basically I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit more. Now that our batter is ready, this is everything mixed in, all your ingredients in there. You're gonna let this sit again for 2 hours, at minimum 2 hours, if not 24 hours, in a sealed container. But, Lord, see? Got my press and seal paper here. So when you pull this out of the fridge, the yeast will activate, like I said, and it will rise. So I would just check on it at that 2 hour mark, just in case. Don't be upset if it pushes the plastic up a little bit. Now we will jump to the next scene of us actually using one I had already pre-made, so that way we can go ahead and finish this off. All right, so this dough has been sitting in the fridge for about 2 hours. It did rise a little bit. Putting down flour so the dough doesn't stick to our surface here. It also helps when you have flour in your hands so the dough doesn't stick to your hands.
Oh yeah, you can roll the dough.
So right now I'm just rolling the dough, as you can see. Kind of be a little aggressive at times.
Oh, you wanted me to do that? Being over here sweating.
I just asked. You said you did. You've been in the kitchen before, so.
Yeah, I don't bake.
Basically, I'm just trying to flatten it out so that way I can cut it into little squares. So the squares are gonna be used for when we actually fry the dough. So I'm grabbing this pan. I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour on here so that way I have somewhere to put the squares that we cut up. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these again into the small squares. Once this all cut up, we're gonna go down again, same method.
I'm so intrigued by this.
Little squares like this. So once you have everything cut, you will throw them onto, again, little cookie sheet or whatever you have available with some extra flour on there, so that way it doesn't stick to the pan. Now that we have our beignet dough cut, then you're gonna get about 4 cups of oil. So the original recipe called for peanut oil. Personally, I am going to use canola oil. So you want the heat to get to about 350 degrees in your pan. It's also nice if you have like a cast iron skillet.
Does it matter which type of oil you use? Because I know some people like to use coconut oil.
It depends on the thickness of it. The original recipe called for either like peanut oil or like Crisco, like lard, like something that's thicker. Olive oil would not be good for this. Basically, you want it to get to about 350 degrees. So how did you end up going into like journalism?
I mean, I like to do stuff and I like to be on the scene, but I found that it's easier for me to tell my story and for it to be more, you know, natural as an observer than as the doer. So I love to be behind the scenes. I like to tell stories versus, oh yeah, like guys, look at me, I'm doing this. I like to know like this was my experience versus like the visual.
Gotcha.
That's why I always say it's deeper than the surface.
Nobody really kind of gets behind the scenes of like what is actually going on when we film. They get the final product, they're like, oh, that's dope, but they didn't understand like it takes about 2 hours to get.
Yeah, like how did you get there? Like why did you want to film from this perspective? Like how long did it take you guys before you got to like perfection, like before you got your formula?
Yeah,
it's that for me because I just want to learn things. Like I want to experience like a bunch of different stuff. If I can't take the time to actually learn it, it's one thing to like, oh yeah, I had this, or that food tastes good, but it's like about that culinary art behind it. Yeah, the food tastes good, but like how, like can you appreciate the food?
Yeah.
So that's what I am about life. Like I just want to appreciate people and appreciate the things that they do and the things that they love, because then it makes me appreciate it.
Like I honestly love what I do. Like I love baking. I love having people come into the kitchen with me, educating as much as I can, and or like just providing a different experience. So that's why I'm happy to have you, because like
thank you.
It really does mean a lot, because this is something that we both are passionate about. Like this is something that we both actually want to build up and like have our own show at some point. Like granted, Marcus has his own individual goals, and so do I. But like together, like we want this page and like everything about like the show itself to like just boom if we can. It's gonna take a lot of work, a lot of man hours in that sense, but like we both committed to that in that sense too. So that was like the biggest thing that we both had come to the understanding. Like as soon as he seen me in the kitchen, he's like, bro, I'm gonna start taking pictures. Like
but it's that risk, like it's taking that risk, because even though you might be good at something, like it's like, well, I'm scared to do it because what if it doesn't happen? Like you can't be afraid of failure. It's just okay, well, we're gonna do it, and if it pops, it pops, and if it doesn't, then let's try something else. But people don't get that.
Exactly. Side note, this is my mom's mom. She actually can flip a pork chop with her bare hand, like in a cast iron skillet, on some weird stuff. Like I don't know if I got it from her or by just because I've been touching hot stuff my entire life. She's fine. Like she's got all her limbs. Like she's good. Like we're almost at 350. So I'm just gonna lay them in there.
The smell. Oh my god. That looks so good.
Give it about not even a minute on each side. And then you just have it on the edges until it's like real crispy.
Oh my god, that looks so good.
But that's why you get it to 350. So that way they just cook real easy. And they are done.
Stay tuned for the next episode to see the final result and to hear us talk some good information about each other. www.structuresavagery.com.
Yeah, I know where to find me. Breed Family Bacon.
Just being awkward.
I should have just had this drop in and
Pan
get a little
out.
sizzle, you know?